What's up, ladies and gentlemen, how are you tonight? And welcome to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I am your host, Nick Smith, and this is my review for Jurassic Park 3. Now, as you all know, Jurassic Park World comes out in 2 days. The park opens, everybody. I'm so excited. I reviewed The Lost World, and that is on my YouTube channel, and I will actually put that in the description box below. So, it has been a while since I have watched Jurassic Park 3. And after watching this movie, boy, did we mess up. Jurassic Park 3 has a lot of green screen effects that look horrible, and the animatronics, it's got more CGI than it should. But the plot of this movie. The plot of this movie is around this family named the Kirbys, who their son gets lost on the island of Isla Sorna, which is the island from the second movie. And so now the Kirbys make up this big lie to Alan Grant that they're going on their wedding anniversary, and they want Alan to guide them through the island of Isla Sorna. So when they get there, he finds out that they were lying and that they're actually there to find their son. And actually, it's because of this lie that a lot of people get killed. A lot of things in this movie that happen to the people is their fault. A lot of it. It's their fault for getting them there. But now, where it comes to them being parents, you know, the police and the U.S. Embassy's like, you know, you need to stay away from that island. We're not going to it. You just need to accept it. And, you know, of course they're upset. They're parents. But, so, now, okay, we do get a scene with Alan and Ellie. Now, unfortunately, Ellie and Alan are not together in this movie, and that really sucks because the ending of the first film has such an impact with them two sitting in the helicopter, looking at each other, and while the two kids are asleep in Alan's arms, he's looking at her, and it's like this, you know, we're going to get married. I want kids. But nope, this film, they're broken up, and that's a real disappointment. However, they still do have really good chemistry with each other, and it's good to see them still have chemistry even though they're not together. And so, even though they're not together, I thought that was really nice of them to do. Now, when we first see the Spinosaurus, it's a surprise. You know, when they get on the island, the wife thinks it's a good idea to scream on a megaphone for the people that are missing. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are saying, but well, Nick, how else is she supposed to get their attention? Here's the thing, though. She knows there's dinosaurs on the island. And there's a scene in this movie to back it up. And unfortunately, I don't know how to show it. But go back and watch the movie. There is a scene when they are having dinner together, the Kirbys and Alan and Billy, and they're like, we're going to Isla Sorna, we want you to be our guy. Well, you know, that's very generous, but I'm busy, and I can recommend you to a lot of people who would be better. And they're like, and Mr. Kirby says, and I quote, yes, I'm quoting Michael Cole. He says, nope, you're the best. You have seen these animals in the flesh. She knows there's dinosaurs on the island. Okay, so we get the scene with the Tyrannosaurus and the Spinosaurus fighting. And they have, actually there is a, I forget what it's called, foreshadow. There is a foreshadow of the two dinosaurs fighting. Because when Alan is talking to Ellie's son, he has a Spinosaurus and a Tyrannosaurus in his hand. And he sees Charlie, the little kid, playing with herbivores, and they're fighting, and he's like, actually, you know, those are herbivores. They wouldn't really be interested in fighting with each other, but these right here are carnivores. And it's a Spinosaurus and a T-Rex. And the dialogue with Alan Grant is just perfect. Alan is honestly, Sam Neill and Ellie are the two best things in this movie, even though Ellie is only in the movie for a couple minutes. So throughout the whole entire film, it's basically them looking for Eric and running from the Spinosaurus. Now, There are two reasons, actually, why I don't think this movie is that bad. Because when I read Jurassic Park and The Lost World, I loved the books. So, I liked in this movie how they went to the research facility that's in The Lost World. And, you know, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about more in my Lost World review, and I didn't, and I wish I did. But I don't think that in The Lost World they explored the facility enough, when in fact, in the book, the facility is a major part of the story. And the fact that they just had it there for a little bit, like, they needed to get there, but there wasn't enough exploring, and and that's one thing I like about this film, is because they go there and they show us so much more. They show us the eggs, they show us the specimens that they had. They show us so much more, and I felt like it really did, I felt like it did okay. Now, one thing that they explained a lot in the book is that people lived on Isla Sorna. And I kind of wish that they had just went through more of it and, you know, showed people's bedrooms, maybe, but to each his own. So now there is actually a funny scene when they're walking through the place and they find these vending machines. And Paul's like, "Who's got some change? I think it only takes quarters. I've got a buck. I've got a $1.10. Billy just comes and kicks the glass and just takes the chips. And Paul's like, "Okay, well, if he can do it, I can do it too." And he tries kicking it and he hurts his foot. And I got a pretty good laugh out of that. But then the film actually got okay, a little bit more okay with showing us the raptors, because Alan has been talking more about raptors and like how he's found out more about them, how they were smart. They were smarter than dolphins, whales, smarter than primates. So when we get an introduction to the raptor, Alan is actually intrigued by these things more than he thought he would, because when they trap the raptor in this cage, or in this cage door, no doubt, the raptor starts making noises and starts calling for help, and Alan's like, "Oh my gosh, he's calling for help." And, you know, if anyone is wondering, well, how did he know that? It's one, because he studied these animals, and two, you can just kind of tell with things like that. You know, like, he could just kind of tell, he's calling for help. It's kind of like things like that, you know. You know, it's not something that you have to know what he's saying. It's just something that you can kind of tell what he was doing. So then we get another chase with the raptors, and they show us how smart the raptors are in this scene, just like they did in the first film. Udesky runs into the raptors. They kill him. Supposedly, they see the Kirbys and Billy are in a tree. Alan gets separated as well. He even runs into Eric. But back to the raptors, they start yelling his name, and they're like, he's dead, but then they see him move, and Amanda's starting to like, no, he's not, we gotta help him. She falls and almost falls to the ground. The raptors were waiting right there for them to come and get him, and Billy's like astonished. She's like, they set a trap. They actually set a trap. And so it kind of reveals to us even more about how they talked about how raptors were in the first movie. Like how Robert Muldoon would be like, they can run up to 60 miles per hour out in the open. They're really good jumpers. They're problem-solving, intelligent. And just for them to show us this, I thought was a really cool addition. So yes, Alan finds Eric, and there is some kind of dumb scenes that involve with this kid, especially the whole... Okay, him and Alan are talking, and they're getting along really well, and it's really cool. It's a really good, it's an okay scene. But Alan picks up this thing, and he's like, "Be careful with that. That's T-Rex. Scares some of the smaller ones away, but attracts one really big one with the fin." He had T-Rex pee. And we would kind of like to see that. Like, I'm kind of interested, like, where did he get that? And the film never tells us why. And that's kind of something that you need to show us. It's not like stuff like... It's not like, let's take the movie Pulp Fiction. they never tell us what's in that suitcase. That's something totally different. A kid who's been stuck on an island with dinosaurs for 8 weeks gets a thing of T-Rex pee? I think I'd like to see how we got that. But, whatever. So, they're sticking with the plan of they're going to go to the coast and meet up with each other. But they do get reunited because earlier on in the film, they have this satellite phone that has a ring. When Alan and Eric are walking together, Eric hears it. And Eric is screaming, and he's screaming for his mom and dad. The mom and dad hear it. They're all reunited at the Spinosaurus cage. So, they're all glad they're reunited. And Eric's like, the parents are like, how'd you know we were here? I heard the phone. And they're like, we don't have the phone. Well, when did you last have it? And then he's like, I loaned it to Nash. He must have had it when he died. And then they turn around, and this is a scene that a lot of people hate. The Spinosaurus is behind them. And that's kind of a bother for me because when the T-Rex was walking in the first movie, water shook. Last time I checked, dinosaurs weren't master assassins, were not masters of silence and the art, and didn't know the art of invisibility. And the phone is ringing in its stomach, and it chases them. Now, they think they're safe, but the dinosaur breaks through the fence. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, come on, how could it break through that? Now, here's my theory, and probably a lot of people will agree with me. It's old. So eventually that kind of stuff will get weak. It'll rust. So now that's my explanation for that. And it doesn't run through the spikes. It lowers its head and uses it to break through. But they get into this padding plate. They get into this safe location. It's a small metal door that had more of a reinforcement than the cage looked. And it can't break through that. It can break through a cage, but it can't break through a door. I don't know. So, we find out that Billy took the eggs. Alan is pissed because that's why the raptors are chasing him. And now, earlier on, Alan said, now it all makes sense. And that, I think, is relating back to the scene when Alan was actually near their nest and he was interested. He's like, what are you saying? What are you looking for? And he says, now it all makes sense. So, now actually, we get to my favorite part of this movie. And now, just hear me out. This is why. When they're in that place, the sun is up, they feel like they're safe. But when they walk down the stairs, the scenery changes, and it feels dreary. There's fog. You just know something's not right here. And it's a scary feeling. But now, here's a reason why this is one of my favorite scenes. In the first Jurassic Park book, when they're trying to find Alan and the kids, I think it was either Robert Muldoon or Mr. Arnold, who says, I hope they don't get into the pterodactyl part, because the pterodactyl are extremely territorial and very dangerous. And so when I read that, I was like, oh man, there's a pterodactyl scene! And the pterodactyl scene was awesome! And we get a pterodactyl scene. Now, there was a pterodactyl scene in the second movie, but it was just like a short thing. With this, it was really cool. Because, it's covered in fog. Everything's messed up. You have, this... all this stuff is broken, and it's just a mystery. Where are you? Where are they? And so, Alan... They all find a bridge, and Alan's like, let's... The bridge was weak, so he's like, okay, we'll do this one at a time. So when everyone else is crossing the bridge, he does some more investigating. And when Amanda gets over, he looks up and he's like, this is a bird cage. And when Eric is crossing the bridge, something lands. And it's a pterodactyl, and it's chasing him. And we get a scene of where Billy, earlier on, they found this guy, Ben's body. And there's no explanation on how he died. They watched the video film that they found at the scene, and he looked fine. I don't know if he starved to death or if he was picked up by compies or what. I don't know. Actually, that's a good explanation if the compies got him. That would make a lot of sense because they are scavengers. That would make a lot of sense. So he uses the parasail, and he saves... he is able to save Eric, but not himself. They escape. And then we get the final dinosaur attacking scene of the movie, the Spinosaurus. Now, one thing that doesn't make any sense is why is the Spinosaurus hunting them? Because it's actually hunting them. However, the second time they run into it, I'm going to say it was a complete accident. And the first one was as well. But throughout the movie, it's haunting them. In the first film, the T-Rex isn't hunting for Alan and the kids. They just come across it by accident. In the book, they come across it by accident. I don't understand why there's more game to chase. Why go after the humans? I honestly don't get it. But it hunts them, and there is when they're fighting it, Alan calls Ellie and says, we're at Isla Sorna site, be sent for help. He fires a flare gun once. He only had one bullet. He shoots it. It bounces off the Spinosaurus. He shoots it again. Where's the other bullet? But so they fight off the Spinosaurus, and then we come to the final scene with the raptors. Now, a lot of people have wondered, or from reviews I have heard, a lot of people have said, why did the raptors look so stupid? What's with the things on their heads? Well, my guess is because of how we've learned on how raptors would have actually looked back in that era of the dinosaurs. They have revealed that they were smaller, a little bit smaller, and they were covered with feathers. Now, they only have like those things on their heads, so that's not enough to back up my theory, but that's just a little thing that maybe they were trying to give us a little bit of that. So they give the raptors back the eggs, and they are saved, and Billy is somehow still alive. Now, actually, this was from Chris Stuckman's YouTube channel. He went and found that in the original script of Jurassic Park 3, Billy was supposed to die. I would have thought that too. But the guy who played Billy was so upset he wanted him to be rescued, and somehow he was rescued. And so we get a scene of pterodactyls flying, and everyone's looking at it like, oh, that's so beautiful. No, it's not. It's freaking scary. You have dinosaurs flying into the public who are carnivores and who are extremely territorial and agitated. That's not good. That's bad. So, my final verdict for this movie, I'm going to give this movie a C-. Actually, no, I'm going to give this movie a C. And the only reasons are, here's the only reasons. Sam Neill, the woman who played Ellie, and those two scenes. Other than that, this movie is actually shorter, so you won't be disappointed for very long. But this movie has a lot of consistency things that go wrong. The CGI looks horrible. The dinosaurs do not look that mesmerizing. They look fake. So, and the only reason I'm giving this movie a C is because of those two scenes that I enjoyed. Well, guys, that is my review of Jurassic Park 3. Put in the comments below what you thought of Jurassic Park 3. I really want to know. Guys, thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch my video. I thank you for subscribing to my channel. I thank you for liking my videos. It really means a lot that you watch my videos. And I love making videos for you. I love making you laugh. I love giving my opinion out to you. Even if you may think my opinion is wrong, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Guys, have a good night. And if you guys are at the premiere of Jurassic World, you lucky people. Have a good night, guys.